Long before the word Jimtober began trending on every social media platform, long before the world saw Jimin's face lighting up the billboards of Times Square, the tradition started quietly. It was the autumn of 2016. BTS was on the rise, but still far from the global icons they would become. Fans, deeply moved by Jimin's sincerity, warmth, and extraordinary talent, decided his birthday deserved more than just online wishes. They wanted the world to know. The very first Jimtober projects were small but heartfelt. A few subway station ads in Seoul, carefully funded by fan donations, a handful of digital banners on Twitter that read, "Happy birthday, Jimin." For many, it seemed simple, but for ARMY, it was revolutionary. Because this wasn't just about celebrating an idol, it was about building a tradition. What made those first projects so powerful wasn't their scale, it was their heart. Every message was a reflection of what Jimin had given to his fans. He wasn't just another performer. He was a lifeline. His gentle smile, his tireless work ethic, his voice, filled with both pain and hope, especially in early BTS songs like Lie and Serendipity. Fans saw themselves in Jimin, his vulnerability, his growth, his quiet strength. So when they gathered to create projects in his honor, it wasn't just fandom culture, it was personal. That year, a new word began to circulate in online spaces, Jimtober, a mix of Jimin and October. It symbolized not just his birthday, but an entire month dedicated to him. The following years saw Jimtober grow rapidly. By 2018, Jimin's birthday wasn't only celebrated in Korea. In Tokyo, giant digital screens flashed his face for thousands of commuters. In New York, fan groups began pooling funds for small LED ads in Times Square. In Southeast Asia, from Manila to Jakarta, cafes turned purple for the day, playing Jimin's solo songs non-stop. Jimtober had become something much larger than anyone expected. It was no longer about ARMY saying, "Happy birthday." It was about ARMY saying, "Thank you for existing. Thank you for giving us strength." By the early 2020s, the scale of Jimtober projects shocked even outsiders. Fans were organizing charity drives, blood donations, scholarship funds, and environmental projects, all in Jimin's name. The idea of a fan-driven birthday celebration had transformed into a global movement of kindness, of love. Of course, many idols are loved, many receive birthday projects, but what made Jimtober unique was the way fans described Jimin. They called him healer, comforter, angel. Unlike many stars, Jimin carried an aura of intimacy. Despite his fame, he remained humble, often bowing deeply on stage, thanking fans endlessly. His way of speaking, soft, careful, filled with warmth, made ARMY feel like he wasn't just talking to them, but with them. Every October, fans felt an urge not just to give back to Jimin, but to mirror the kindness he showed them. And so, Jimtober became not just a fan event, but a tradition of love, compassion, and community. By 2023 and 2024, Jimtober had reached full festival status. Streets in Seoul would glow purple, billboards in London and Paris joined the wave. In Latin America, fans painted murals of Jimin, while in Africa, ARMY communities organized charity concerts. It was no longer just a birthday. It was a global holiday. And now in 2025, with Jimin finally returning from military service, Jimtober has grown into something even bigger, an emotional homecoming not just for him, but for every fan who has been waiting, counting the days, holding on to hope. Jimtober is no longer just a fan project, it is a global festival of love. Every year, October 13th comes and goes like any other date on the calendar, but for millions of people around the world, this day carries a weight far beyond numbers, far beyond birthdays. It is the day Park Jimin, the heart of BTS, was born. And for ARMY, that means everything. Why? Because Jimin is not just a singer, not just a dancer, not just an idol whose posters hang in bedrooms or whose songs top charts. Jimin has become something deeper, a symbol of hope, softness, and strength woven together in one soul. To understand why Jimtober has become such an emotional global celebration, you must first understand Jimin himself. On stage, he is fire and grace personified. His dancing is sharp yet fluid, his voice delicate yet piercing. Every performance feels like a story. Every gaze into the camera, a dialogue with the audience. He doesn't just sing or dance, he bleeds emotion into every movement. And yet, offstage, Jimin transforms into something almost entirely different. The superstar disappears, replaced by a young man who bows deeply to staff, who laughs shyly at compliments, who places his hand on his chest when speaking sincerely. He is tender, soft-spoken, sometimes self-conscious, always humble. This duality, the fiery star and the gentle soul, is what fans fell in love with. It's why Jimtober is more than fan service. It's a way of giving back to someone who gives everything of himself. If you scroll through fan letters, Wever's posts, or even TikTok edits, one theme repeats again and again. Jimin saved me. A teenager in Brazil who battled depression wrote that listening to Promise, Jimin's self-composed solo track, was the reason she chose to keep living. A young man in the Philippines confessed that Jimin's smile gave him courage to come out to his family. A mother in the United States said her daughter, struggling with anxiety, found comfort in Jimin's voice, and for the first time in years, she saw her child smile again. These are not isolated stories. They are echoes of the same truth. Jimin's presence heals. His voice carries warmth that pierces loneliness. His words, often simple but sincere, make fans feel seen, heard, understood. This is why October 13th is not just Jimin's day. It belongs to everyone he has touched. Fans don't just celebrate because it's tradition. They celebrate because it's gratitude. Gratitude for the times his music was a shoulder to cry on. Gratitude for the late-night live streams where he spoke with honesty, confessing his own struggles. Gratitude for the comfort of knowing that even someone as bright as Jimin once doubted himself and still found the strength to shine. For ARMY, Jimtober is a chance to reflect. If Jimin can keep going, so can I. Over time, October itself became a season of healing within the fandom. The moment the first day of the month arrives, timelines and feeds shift. Purple graphics fill the internet, edits of Jimin's soft laughter resurface, and fans collectively begin the countdown. It feels like a global family preparing for a reunion. They don't just wait for October 13th, they savor every day leading up to it. Each Jimtober project, each trending hashtag, each poster on a subway wall becomes a reminder. We are together, celebrating the one who taught us love. Jimin once said in an interview, "I'm thankful just to exist in your memories." But for ARMY, it's much more than memory. Jimin's birthday isn't just a date, it's a legacy that continues to grow. Every project funded, every billboard lit, every child helped through charity in his name adds to that legacy. And that's why Jimtober feels eternal. Because even when the candles on Jimin's cake are blown out, the light he gives doesn't fade. It multiplies, carried in every heart that celebrates him. When fans first put up a simple subway ad in Seoul to celebrate Jimin's birthday years ago, no one could have imagined what would come next. That small gesture of love was only the beginning of a global phenomenon, one that would transform Jimtober into one of the most extraordinary fan-led celebrations the world has ever seen. Today, Jimtober projects don't just live online. They live on the streets, in the skies, and across the landmarks of the world. From Seoul to Times Square, from Tokyo's Shibuya Crossing to London's Piccadilly Circus, Jimin's face has become part of the urban skyline every October. It always begins in Seoul, the city where Jimin trained, dreamed, and eventually rose to stardom. Every October, subway stations fill with his images, bright LED screens showing clips of his performances, posters adorned with messages like, "Jimin, you make us smile," or "Our Angel of October." Commuters pause for selfies, children point with wide eyes, and even non-fans stop to ask, who is he? In districts like Gangnam and Hongdae, cafes host Jimtober specials, purple-themed drinks, cakes with his name, playlists filled with his solos. Streets turn into mini festivals, with ARMY handing out freebies like photo cards, stickers, and banners. It's not just advertising, it's atmosphere. The entire city breathes Jimin.